Welcome to DFG Gaming. This is Belay, and today I've realized that the 3D printed parts I use to enable my GoPro to be able to do the time-lapse footage for my 3D prints are kind of sketchy, and I decided that it was time to redo them and maybe make some improvements. So figured I'd make a video about printing them, so just see what you guys think. So the two parts that I'm mainly focusing on are the GoPro minimal case that has a little latch there, and basically over here on the side, as you can see, there we go, has where you can plug in the power right there, and access to all your buttons, and it's just very minimal case that you can 3D print. The other piece is the GoPro mount for my FlashForge Creator Pro. So this is what I actually attach to the printer, and then you attach your camera to it. Both of these pieces were printed before I really knew a whole lot about 3D printing, and they are kind of shady quality and some things that I would rather improve on. So I figured I'd print them, print new updates, and show you guys and see what we think. So let's take a look at those prints. So as you can see here, I've already imported the models that I'm going to try to print. So we've got the minimal case for the GoPro there. We've got the FlashForge Creator mount there. And I found this lens hood, and I'm hoping it may help a little bit with shadows and lighting a little bit maybe. And figured I'd throw it in there just for good measure and see what happens. So basically how I'm going to try and print these. The lens hood, as you can see, will not print like this because of how it sets. I don't think it'll print that way. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to rotate this. Hopefully I get it right this time. Negative 90 degrees, center and range. Alright, so that's got that one set right. The GoPro mount is pretty much how we want it. The FlashForge Creator mount, like I said in the previous video, I prefer to print left to right and forward instead of forward and backwards. Well, this time I went opposite for whatever reason. So let's rotate that 90 degree. Whoop, wrong one. Forgive me, that was the wrong one. Not X-axis either, it's Z that I want to do. There we go. Alright, so now when we center and arrange. Now as you can see, the problem that I'm going to have with getting the footage now is that the hood actually is obscured by the mount. So I do apologize for that in advance. I didn't think about it until after I already got the footage shot. But this is basically how I'm going to try to print these. I'm not going to use any supports, even though right here I probably should, but I'm going to try doing it without it, and I think that'll be all right. If I remember right, I had a little bit of cleanup, but it more or less came out okay. So let's take a look at our properties for this. We use the right one, yeah. So pretty much when we did this, we're going to come in here, 0.2 layer height. The infill, I'm pretty sure, even though I've got it set at 20, I think I set this to 15%. I think that'll work out okay. And that should be it. Like I said, no supports, just using a brim. That should take care of that. The actual designer for the GoPro mount, this is a different one than the one I showed you that I printed before. This one doesn't have the tab on it, so this one just holds it in with friction. He actually recommends 50% infill for the mount, not the mount, but the case. And I don't disagree with that because it's going to make it really, really rigid. But 15% seemed to do okay for me. So let's say we take a look at how long it's going to take to print these and all the statistics. Yeah, we used the right one. Alright, so it's showing an hour and 45 minutes to print it. So it's not too bad. I think in total, I think mine was maybe 2 hours, maybe 2.5. So it's pretty spot on. As you can see, there's a little bit of travel back and forth, but overall, that should be all right. So let's say we go ahead and take a look at this being printed, and then we'll take a look at the finished result and see what we think. Okay, so as you guys saw there, everything seemed to print pretty much okay. So let's take a look at the individual pieces here. We've got the minimal case for the GoPro. Let me hold it. There we go. Hold it against the shirt so it's a different color than my walls. Sorry about that. And you can see, I mean, it's the biggest difference between what I had before and what this one is that right up here, there's no tab. The designer was talking about that tab normally ends up breaking on him, so he just took it off there and just designed it as this way. And it will more or less hold the GoPro in there just based on friction alone. So you throw your GoPro in here, just like that. So it's set up in there, and then no problems. It holds it in there just fine. You have access to your Wi-Fi button, shutter button, and all your plugins that you need. So there's that one. This case, like I said when I was talking about the Simplify 3D, the designer says he would set it to 50% infill. I did 15%, and yeah, it's a little flimsy, but it more or less serves the purpose. So 15% infill seems to work just fine for this. If you wanted to go a little bit higher, that'd be fine. You know, the higher you go, it's just going to make it more rigid, more stout. So you can't go wrong. The only thing is, just how much plastic you want to use for it. So let's take a look at the next piece. This is the FlashForge mount that I had for the GoPro. So as you can see, I'm going to try to show right here. The part here, this required a good amount of cleanup because I didn't use supports. And let me see if I can get it to focus in on what it tore up there. Let's see, I don't think it's going to focus in very well on that. But it made a mess out of that where I didn't have supports. And I had to do some cleanup there. But overall, it still works. I mean, I've tested it out on my printer. It grabs a hold of the edge just fine, no questions asked. No, it doesn't make it, uneven or not hold well. And everything else came out pretty good. So I'll probably still continue using this one and just, for future reference, if I ever decide to do it again, I always do supports right here. Outside of that, it works pretty good. So just kind of, use your common sense for what you want to do and whether or not you should use supports or not. The third piece is the lens hood. Now this printed out okay, but it's still really super flimsy. And as you can see, you can watch it bend with my fingers there. And it's actually almost see-through at some points. So I think I'm going to end up reprinting this. Probably just go ahead and suck it up and go to 100% and just be done with it. But this works for the video, and we'll see how it goes from there. I haven't had a chance to actually test it, see if it actually helps with the shadow or not. Hopefully in the next few videos we'll see if it does or not. So basically the way all this would work is, you got your GoPro, put it in your case, slide on your lens hood, and depending on how you mount it, you may have to put it like this, or you may have to turn it upside down like this to accomplish the goal. The way my GoPro works with my printer, it's always hanging like this, so that would be the appropriate way to do it. So then I use these swivel mounts that came with my GoPro, and they have worked out wonderfully for everything to do with this. So just screw those in here. Let me get this put together here real quick. Alright. So just attach that to the printer mount. Screw that in there real quick. And then once you've got that, comes the tricky part. So the old GoPro mount I had, and this is the only con I found to this case, when I would put it into here, well, when I put it the right way, when I would put it into here, it provided just enough friction right here to hold the camera up. So if I can show you guys without making a mess and getting my fingers in the way, I could always just mount it like that right there and just have it hold the camera up. Right now, if you put a screw in there, it does not, because it doesn't have a nut on it to hold the camera. What I did find was one of the pieces that came with my GoPro was this little handy dandy suction cup mount. Well, if you take this screw out here, it works out beautifully for this to be able to actually provide enough friction to hold the camera and still yet let you use the case that I've got. So take out that little screw, slide it in there, take your thumb screw, the nut, put it in there real good, and give me just a second here, and you basically just thread that up there when you got it set where you want it, and that will hold it just fine, just like that. So you can adjust that to whatever angle you need to get the right footage you want, and it will hold it right there with the friction. No problems whatsoever. So guys, this is basically how I record all my 3D printing footage for the time lapse, is exactly just like that. You know, maybe twist the angle just a little bit, but mount it to the printer just like that and let it go. So if you guys want to do some time lapse footage with your GoPro, you know, look on Thingiverse, and you know, look at the links down below. I'll have links to all of these 3D printed pieces that I'm using today, and you know, you can 3D print most of the things you need to do this, or you know, your mounts, cases, and all that stuff, so you don't have to worry about buying anything. So guys, in the future, this is what I'm going to be using, and hopefully it will work. I do plan on doing some more stuff with the GoPro and the GoPro accessories with 3D printing, and hopefully you guys will join me in that adventure, and we'll see how everything turns out. Well guys, that's basically all I got. All three of these designs are pretty good, and they seem to do their job pretty well. So hopefully it's helped you guys out a little bit, maybe showing you something that you didn't know that existed before. Oh, and before I forget, just because I did the FlashForge Creator Pro for me, there are mounts galore for every type of printer that you could possibly want to use. So, you know, basically just remove the mount part and you guys can piece this together from anything else that you want for any printer. So it's not just for my printer alone. So guys, this has been the review of, you know, just these parts here, and hope you guys have enjoyed it. You know, remember to give me a like and try to subscribe if you guys want to keep up with future content. And it's Friday, so everybody happy Friday. Hope you are going to have a great weekend, and hopefully everything goes well. We'll see you all next time. Have a good one.